Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to TADHack Global 2017. My name is Jason Lowe from Oracle. I'm here at QUT in Brisbane, QUT Foundry hosting the venue up here. I've got a really special guest star, guest speaker based out in Sydney, Julie Trell, head of muruD. How are you, Julie? How are you this morning?
I'm great. Excited for the summer to start.
It's already happening up here. I think it's about 32 degrees. So if you want some heat, then come to Brisbane as you are next week. So welcome to Brisbane next week. So thanks for joining us this morning on this interview series. We have yourself starting the morning, and we're definitely going to have some great speakers this afternoon from muruD alumni. So thanks for starting it off. Just before we get started too much, I wouldn't mind just getting an overview from yourself in terms of muruD, the muruD brand, and where did it start?
Sure. So muruD is an accelerator backed by Telstra. We've been around for about 4.5 years. It was to build and grow and support the startup/entrepreneur tech ecosystem because this is where it's at. And we have set up 5 programs. One started in Sydney. We have one in Singapore, Melbourne. We just launched in Melbourne, and we have 2 partner programs, one in Perth and Brisbane, as you mentioned, at River City Labs. And we are focused, we're not specific on what type of sector that we're looking at, except for Melbourne is IoT, but we're really looking for eager entrepreneurs that are willing to solve some big social problems and business problems, that are willing to work together, that can learn from us, that are coachable, and have innovative tech.
So, and a little bit about yourself. So, Julie, you just come into this role, taking over from Annie Parker, and a great job that she did. So, what is your background?
So, my background is I was a classroom teacher in inner city Atlanta, and then a technology specialist at a middle school. And serendipitously had met Mark Benioff in 1998 before he was ready to leave Oracle and start a new company. And I'm hoping I'm allowed to say this.
You can say that.
Okay, because I know they've learned from one another, to start a company where he was going to sell software over the web, which was absolutely unheard of back in 98. People were freaking out because Steve Jobs was taking the floppy drive out of the laptop. So he knew he wanted to sell software over the web, and he created Salesforce. At the same time, he felt this opportunity and responsibility to impact education. And given my background in education, my first thought was, Mark, if you're going to deal with kids and technology to bridge the digital divide, you need to hire teachers. Don't just be a company that gives away money. And with that, little did I know was my interview, and I was asked to join the Salesforce Foundation back in 2000 when there were 100 employees at Salesforce. And so I worked with Salesforce and how it grew, as well as with nonprofits and impacting education and the nonprofit space with technology. And more serendipity, Annie Parker had posted a job description that said looking for someone to fill my flip-flops. And I like flip-flops, so I clicked on the job description. And it was a very human-centric, values-driven job description that resonated with me. You know, eager can work with corporates, has the gravitas to work with corporates, is more empowered to help individuals within their own personal gain, wants to help the startup ecosystem flourish. And long story short, here I am, and I am in fact wearing flip-flops today.
Fantastic. So Annie's gone to a great place. Just to elaborate on a little bit more, that Annie's actually now going over to Fishburners in Sydney, which is a great co-working space. And one of the things as part of muruD, Fishburners, River City Labs, the Precinct, Little Tokyo 2 up here, Capital, there's very much a sense of community in terms of information, the startups, education, universities. So how do you find muruD as in its contribution, and how do you see us working better to make, I suppose, innovation or Australia better?
Sure. So some of the values that we have, one of which is collaboration, and it's not just collaboration within our team and with our founders, but working with the other accelerators and other programs like Fishburners and all the universities to get the right resources to the entrepreneurs or startups that want to make a difference. we have a philosophy site where we talk with even VCs or accelerators that are saying, send us your NQs, your not quite. So who wasn't not quite right for yours accelerator, but might be right for us. So we're really helping and sharing in that respect. We're also building the ecosystem, meeting with potential mentors and investors and legal support to help educate them also on our program, what we do, our terms, how to create founder-friendly relationships. So collaboration is really one of our values. And the other one I want to mention, because I'm liking, you can't see behind me, is play. And while we're sitting in here, I call this the playroom. And right over here, one of the hacks looks like some toys and a nice track of cars that are going around there. So play to us is also how we learn. It's not the opposite of work.
Yeah, so as part of the TADHack hackathon experience, it is all about learning, it's all about sharing, it is all about having fun, and you sort of made mention about the Anki car sets and the Anki little robots, the little Cosmo robots that we've brought to the event. Not just to have fun, but also to enrich the stories that come out of these hacks so people can visualize and embrace what these solutions can be. So just the imagination that comes out of play and learning is as important to this whole experience. So
and also to your point, community, I love hosting events here. We're here on a weekend with Telstra and Oracle, and everyone to play in the office.
So there's been a few good stars that have come through, and we've got a few of them already lined up, eager to get on stage. So that's good to see. Are there any other highlight ones that you see that you want to bring to light?
Yeah. So one of my favorites, since coming from a background as a teacher, who was in the previous cohort in Sydney, is CubeWriter, and Solange, female founder, also working with schools, inspiring kids to learn how to code and create experiments that are sent up into space. So this is really cool. I think of it as, instead of coming home with your spelling test and put it on the fridge, your experiment is going up into space, and that's your fridge magnet proud moment.
Yeah. So seeing that these great ideas have come through, and one of the things I'm passionate being from a corporate is the exit strategy. So an accelerator itself actually gets you to a certain point. There's funding, there's support through mentors, because I know a friend of mine, Peter Laurie, actually comes down every month or so down to muruD, as well as some of the tech stars, and into Melbourne as well to actually help out. Is that exit strategy? So how do you see corporates can make a better place to actually exit from?
So we're still young in our age. It's only been four years, so that's really hard to. Are you saying exit as a company or exit to go into getting to the next stage?
Yeah, I suppose one of the concepts is once you exit, you do need to, even before you go through the accelerator, then you need to have a plan what the exit is. So having a marketplace where you can see there's value, there are customers, there are market segments that is willing to invest in you as an organization, as the products that you or services that you have, then having that market there is as important as the accelerator itself. So coming from Oracle, and we've got a lot of big customers around Australia as well as globally, then where is the responsibility of a corporate and an enterprise customer into the startup community and the accelerators?
Well, so our program is 6 months, and when they exit, as the term that you're using, which I think is an interesting term, they're still really part of the program. And all of the alumni will help one another. We have a portfolio manager who is helping the companies once they finish. And we have a good relationship with Telstra Ventures and our network. So we open up those relationships where we can. And the employees at Telstra, since this is kind of an innovation hub or a space for employees to come and see what kind of innovations are happening, they tend to follow a lot of these the companies along after they leave the program, and build those relationships there, and can connect them with their network or accounts or innovations that they're working on.
So I'm glad you sort of made mention about the Telstra people. So I do have to have a great admiration and thanks to Jana and David Freeman in terms of the Telstra involvement for TADHack, so I appreciate that. The other bit that I would like to do a bit of a shout out to as well is Steve Cooper has actually will actually be part of, well, I'm not sure whether he started or will start, but he's definitely in the fold in terms of Telstra. Understanding where his love is in terms of evangelism and also creating that energy around the marketplace for innovation and new ideas, then it is definitely something that I'd be very interested in. And we've already talked about this before, about looking at opportunities to collaborate with yourselves and with our customers, as well as the startups, to actually make a better, more fruitful and valuable ecosystem.
Right. And we try and host as many events as we can here, open houses for the employees, the investors, universities, to see what the founders are doing that are in the program, as well as have some dialogue and see, oh, this is something that I want to do next. We've built a lot of relationships internal with Telstra. They learn from us, we learn from them.
Yeah. So you mentioned just before we went on air, so to speak, that you do have a new cohort coming through. Can you just tell us what's happening there in Sydney?
Sure. So our applications for SID 5, will be our 5th cohort, is opening October either 2nd or 3rd. Go to our website, muru-D.com. And we have an event for those of you in Sydney on Wednesday for an info session. And there are some other events that we're hosting. We're actually doing a pitch competition on the 19th of October. 60-second pitches for 30, I believe, founders, and the winner of that will get a fast track to getting on the interview schedule to apply to get into muruD.
So that's exciting times and busy times for you in Sydney. And I suppose one of the things I'd like to just end this with is say thank you for your time this morning. Thank you for explaining what muruD is and what the community is all about. Definitely want to have a chat with the guys here in terms of the alumni and talk about their stories as well. So, so watch us on the live stream, and hopefully we'll see you next week in Brisbane.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me. And
thanks Julie. Cheers.
Up and